All right. Hey, so come on in. We're gonna get going real fast, and we can get going fast. We have some. How many online presents, Jim?
Oh, there's at least 10 now.
How many?
Let's see, there's 10.
Oh, nice. You guys, hey, thanks for joining us. Those of you weaklings who decided to stay at home, all right, and in the comfort of your own home with your fireplaces going for the first time all year. You got your fireplace fired up, so that's good. We are not that here. We are shivering a little bit, but that's all right. We got a little lighter turnout, but that's okay. We'll keep it moving and see what's happening. So, quick reminder, a couple things. First of all, if you have not registered, Brian Heckman, he doesn't count. We're trying to count how many. We got more vendors than we do actual agents. So Brian thinks he's back in Chicago. So I know. See. Anyway, if you have not registered, it's too late for a Christmas party, but that's all right. You can still come. Those of you who are wondering, hey, Barb, how are you? It's going to be outdoors. We're going to be by the pool area, so I think it's going to be cooler even on Thursday. Is that right? No, I don't know if it'll be that cool. But we'll be outside so we can socially distance, so we'd love to see you if you guys can make it. While we're here, let's go ahead and grab some of our vendors and let you guys introduce yourselves. So, Brian Brown, you want to come? We haven't seen Brian in a couple months. So, yeah, come on up so we can be in the, you can be on the camera. Yeah, here, I'll let you hold it so we can stay socially distanced. Perfect. Awesome.
Okay, Brian Brown, Old Republic Home Warranty. Trying to think about what's new. Let me start by preference this. Now would be a good time to make sure you have home warranties for your buyers, and if you, maybe even for your own house, because our service requests are up 46%. Since COVID hit. I think a lot of it's because people are home and either they have time to fix their stuff or they're using their dishwasher 10 times a week instead of once a week because everybody's home. So anyway, so Old Republic's there. We're definitely here to help you out. And also just want to remind you too that we do have an after warranty. So if you get into one of those multiple contract situations where you don't want to ask for a warranty, but the homeowner still needs one, but doesn't have any money left because they just spent, $4,000 more than they thought they were going to on the house. We actually have a payment plan that we can put them in, that we can do, after the closing, so they can pay for the warranty themselves. So, anyway, Brian Brown, Old Republic, glad to see everybody.
Quick question.
Merry Christmas.
So 46%, you guys are up. Your service calls are up 46%.
46%.
That is interesting.
And it's more than that. That's for Florida.
Right.
It's higher than that over the United States. We're over the 50s.
In right now for their heaters right now for people who are trying to fire up their heaters for the first
probably.
time right now?
They're calling and going, "What's that smell?"
Yeah, right,
and they
exactly.
call and they find out it's just the old dust being burned away
That's
from
right,
the
exactly. Haven't
from the
used a heater
thing.
in a year,
Actually, it's mostly appliances.
Interesting. Okay.
And then, of course, that adds to the problem because you can't hardly get any parts for appliances. And when we were replacing appliances, it can be a 2 to 3 day,
Yeah.
3 week, be able to get
See?
a refrigerator or a stove or,
Right.
yeah. So everything's kind of different. Yeah.
Well, get them local
So anyway,
again. Thanks,
I appreciate
Brian. Good, I'm glad you came.
Yep.
Hey, good morning. We got our 2 agents here so far. That's 3. We got 3 of our agents are here. The Hardy crew. We're going to call you something. We'll make you guys a little posse of your own or something to go. So, what's that? Oh, we didn't? Okay. All right. Let's talk. Okay. So Barb just reminded us that we didn't put it on Facebook to remind you guys about the meeting. So, let's talk about the nanny state. All right. How about let's talk about personal responsibility. Let's talk about the fact that if something's on your calendar, you should know to show up. Let's talk. Okay, yes, you are. So I'm not. All right. Exactly. We'll come next time. We'll come knock on your doors to remind you and bring you. We'll send a bus. All right, to come pick you up. Jiminy Christmas. Holy cow. All right. Your first name again? Beth. All right. Last name's Burnett. I know that. Okay. So welcome, Beth Burnett. Beth, this is her maiden voyage with us, right? Here. And so tell us about who you're with and what you're doing. You can hold that. And it's not obviously amplifying, but we got an online presence. And we got the 3 here. So
okay.
make sure you talk to them as well.
Hi, my name is Beth Burnett. I am a representative for Equity National Title and Guju Law. So happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I just wanted to tell everybody that I'm really excited to be representing this title company because as a realtor, I'm also licensed here in Florida and Indiana and Illinois. Wow. I'm from Chicago, so this is a hot day for me. I do want to say that I work with a lot of investors, and as a mobile closer, I was going around to different title companies, work with a lot of title companies, and impressed with, there's a lot of good companies here, really are, and impressed with a lot of them. But one thing that really impressed me about Equity National Title is that so many of my investors were using them, and so many of my clients were using them. And so I learned a lot about them, got to see everything from backside, front side, inside out, and was really impressed. So my phone number, if anybody wants to reach me, is 219-613-2329. That's my Indiana number. You can also reach me at 727-336-2309. And you can also reach me, of course, through our website at equitynationaltitle.net.
Perfect. Okay. Awesome. Great. Well, thanks for coming out. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
Thank you.
So is Kevin coming? Are you guys doing your thing? Okay. Okay, perfect. So he is coming. All right, good deal. That's what we need to know. All right, so let's go to Brian Heckman. Come over here for a second, so that way Jim doesn't have to move the camera. I'm gonna make you. We should go get to stand in the sun a little bit, at least get a little.
Oh, it's like breezy too.
I know. Holy cow.
Hi, I'm Brian with Heckman Mortgage. Awesome to be here with you guys. I actually have to split right after this though.
Good to see you.
So I do mortgages, and I would just say that like all of the trends, statistics, everything has us poised for a huge 2021. So like now's that awesome time to like get your processes, systems, all that in order, because it's going to probably come out of the gate pretty fast in January. So anything we can help with, let us know.
Hey, so I think 2 months ago you came and you were like shorts and a tank top or something.
I thought about that this morning. Yeah,
You know, it's like,
yeah.
My, how it's changed.
It wasn't a
right?
tank top, but I
Well,
mean,
okay, just a workout shirt or something,
yeah,
right? Okay.
it was a
yeah.
golf shirt. Yeah, yeah.
So-
Here I am. I have a sweater on
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a coat.
and long johns, but yeah,
And
great to be here. Thank you.
Awesome, great, good to see you. Perfect. All right, David, you want to come on up? Sure. Okay, all right. So David Rankin, David's our resident attorney and also owns American Patriot Title.
That's correct.
All right, and you brought a friend with you too. That's
I did. Marquise Johns is with
We'll
American
let you
Patriot
guys
Title.
hold
Sure.
this. All right.
Marquise is going to handle some marketing for us,
Awesome.
and we're pretty excited to have him. Yeah. So I wanted to share a quick story. I was sharing with Bob, and he thought, "Whoa, yeah, maybe we ought to get the word out on that." So I have a realtor client who's had about 6 or 8 closings a month, doing very well. Thought life was doing pretty good. And during that period of time, that fateful period of time between the signing the contract and we call it the property inspection period, and the buyers found an inspection and found some electrical issues. And so my guy, who's the seller's agent, said, "No problem, we'll fix that. We'll get ourselves. I'll get my electrician over there. He's done a lot of work for us. Every time he does any work for us, gives me an invoice. He's got a company." Got a contractor's license number on there, not something he really thought about. And so anyway, one homeowner complained that, hey, the work doesn't seem to have been done, or it looks kind of sloppy. So the electrical company, another electrical company came out there, and it was hair on fire time. Something is terribly wrong. The person that did this did a terrible job. And of course, they might have been upselling a little bit.
Literally hair on fire with bad electrical work? Like,
Well,
okay.
Bob,
Okay, all right. Just
you
wanna
know,
make
you're the
sure.
only guy.
So when they were doing their,
you're
they
the
were trying to, plug in their hair dryer.
you're the
and his
only
outlet
guy,
got replaced.
only guy in the audience that ever gets my jokes.
Okay.
But anyway, so what happened was somebody had the bright idea of reporting that to the DBPR Division of Real Estate. And nowadays, and I know from about for the last 2 or 3 years, the DBPR Division of Real Estate, and this is another trivia question, there's another agency called the Division of Regulation, and they investigate, they regulate the Construction Industry Licensing Board cases, which are electricians and contractors. Okay, so they did a joint investigation, and they went through 100.
I just want to make sure. Are they going to regulate? Oh, sorry, hang on.
That's right.
All right, I
That's
just want
right.
to make sure.
Now you got it.
Shut down.
I
All
hope
right, good deal.
I hope everybody's seeing it. Is this a wide angle?
All right, Dave, let's
Okay.
get this. I am
All
masked.
right.
Don't forget that.
That's
All
right. That's right. That's right.
This is the only screenshot we're gonna show in case they ever bring it up.
That's right. So what happened, long story short, there was an investigation, and this one individual who my client had every reason to believe was a licensed electrician had done 10 or 12 of the jobs. The other 68 to 75 closings that he'd done where he had called in an electrician, there were two other people that were called in who were licensed electricians. So there was an indication that my guy was not cavalier about this. He didn't choose a guy, his handyman or whatever. But the bottom line is they filed an administrative complaint against my guy in the face of all kinds of circumstantial evidence that would indicate that he, like a lot of other realtors, was thinking, he had every evidence, the invoices, the card, all said licensed, and my guy is now, these agencies are not going to get it, but they started out saying they wanted $10,000 for one agency and about $7,000 or $8,000. They're very hardcore, and I was sharing with Bob something that they don't realize, and that is in the community of realtors, nobody, and this is, don't tell anybody this, but 90% of realtors don't do any kind of independent investigation as far as whether an electrician or a quote-unquote handyman needs to be licensed or whether a contractor actually has a license. So even though that is the state of the affairs in the real world, if someone files a complaint saying that the contractor that was recommended or the electrician that was recommended by the realtor does not have a license, the DBPR Division of Real Estate and the Division of Regulation, separate attorneys, separate administrative complaints, will file administrative actions and seek to discipline your license. So this brings up an excellent point, and that is, okay, maybe the realtor, the licensed sales associate or broker who, oh gee, you got an electrical problem, you don't know anybody, and I commonly refer Mr. A or Company B, and if that person is not licensed, the DBPR Division of Real Estate and the Division of Regulation take the position that there is an obligation to make sure that the individual is licensed. So just something to be aware of, and it should not be a surprise if you get a call or a letter from the DBPR Division of Real Estate saying, here is a complaint. The electrician that was used, I'm the buyer, the electrician that was used by the seller to do this work was not licensed. And of course, the big story they like to build up is our home could have been not hair on fire, but house on fire. Right. All right? And of course, we proved that the work by an actual electrician, licensed electrician, went out there to inspect it, said, this is no risk of harm to the homeowner. But in spite of that, they went through 100 different closings that the guy had, and they found 8 where this non-licensed electrician was used and charged my client with 2 separate administrative complaints. So something to watch out for.
So a couple questions there.
Sure.
So let's think about this.
Are we taking questions today?
We are taking questions
okay, all
from
right.
me because
all
I
right.
said we are.
Okay.
All right. So well, first of all, was the agent being accused or
Yes.
the broker? Very important to the broker here. I want to know who all right, who was getting charged with the malfeasance here?
Let me just say I had a conversation with the very, very nervous broker, and there was never any action against the broker. It was always against the sales associate.
Great news. That's what I love to hear. Number one.
Now
Okay.
you probably don't have that second question, right?
Okay, yeah, no need for the second question. Then, no, but in order for our agents to protect themselves,
Okay,
right?
sure,
Okay.
sure.
You said because I asked the first question I have. Well, we have that get out of that CYA.
No, the first question was
Okay, sorry.
was the broker.
First question I asked you before we came online
Okay,
was
all right.
the CYA form we have
Exactly.
at the end of the contract
Exactly.
that says, hey, look, everybody agrees not to rely
Excellent.
on any recommendations of third-party vendors and so on and so forth. And
Yep.
your answer was?
Right. Well, the DBPR Division of Real Estate is not a party to that. It doesn't, buyers and sellers cannot preclude prosecution by the state licensing agency.
Because it wasn't the client that was bringing the issue, and we could therefore drop out this, paragraph to say it was an independent,
No,
a government entity.
Well, now, even if, it doesn't matter if it's a buyer or a seller that sign, the contract that has that language in it, or if there's an addendum with that same verbiage in it, that is not going to stop, and there's no legal basis for an attorney such as myself to argue and think that I might succeed, argue that, well, the buyer signed, or the seller signed that, and the buyer signed that, and so you can't prosecute, you can't discipline my client's license. That,
Right.
Yeah, that there's no, yeah.
That's it, because that was my first thought to go. So the answer would be question?
No, just good. Just tell everyone on the thing that how to check licenses.
Oh, yeah. How do you check licenses?
I just defend people.
Right? Because they
Yeah.
regulate not just real estate. There's a lot of categories there when you go into DBPR site.
Right. They have a number of different licenses that you can check, drop down and you,
Do a name search and then it'll show what kind of license that person holds. It could be
exactly.
a hairdresser, whatever.
Or the electrician would give you their card, or they'll give you their license number, and then you can, it's like having an OR book and page number when you're looking in the official records, yeah. If they'll give you their license number,
Right.
that would be helpful.
Well, DPR requires that you, on a card, you have to have your license number.
Not in real estate.
No, we're talking about construction. We're talking
Right,
Exactly.
right.
Well, and the guy though had it on his card. He had,
also,
yeah,
has their name on the truck, it has to
Right.
have
right.
their number on it. But what about the fact that we have all the handymans, and handymen are not required in all municipalities to have licenses.
Correct.
Well, but the issue there is that oftentimes handymen will do work that will require a permit and require a license, whether electrical contractor, and I'm not about to say that I'm any kind of expert as far as how far they would have to go.
I mean, change it on the GFI plug, anybody can do it, read the directions.
And I believe that's true. But the problem,
They have licensed contractors.
right. It's just an issue to be aware of. So many
So
people.
the main issue though, David,
Yep.
was it that the agent held them out to be licensed?
No,
That
he
just
never.
he recommended them, period, and
Well,
didn't,
no, see, what happened was, he was representing the seller.
right?
The buyer came along, had a home inspection, and listed as some of the issues to be addressed.
Right.
Electrical issues. So my guy engaged this, on some occasions, this person that I've described.
Yep.
And then the buyer had an electrical company come and say, and then that.
Right. So
investigation
I just want to
ensued.
make sure it wasn't like specified, hey, look, a licensed electrician has to fix this.
Nope.
And it
Nope.
just, the fact, even if they said, hey, get anybody to fix it, we don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And if the fact that he recommended somebody that did not have a license, he is being.
That is correct.
Attempted to be
Yeah, there was no.
sanctioned by these boards.
There was no language in the addendum saying the repairs must be done by a, right,
Okay, interesting. Okay,
Yep.
good deal.
yep.
All things to be aware of. It's one of those things where you wonder why in these COVID relief bills that we're talking about, why some groups are requesting that there be no.
Liability?
Yeah,
Right,
exactly. Or
right.
relief from frivolous BS suits that are coming, because you had a meeting outdoors at Philippee Park and didn't mandate everybody wear a mask, so I'm gonna sue you for, all sorts of money.
Right.
So, because it's, all these anti-business things. So it's, again, one of these, just be aware, all right, that you gotta be very careful when you recommend people, unfortunately. It's, whether we, like it or not, and even though they gave 3 and everything else, all the things we normally teach, all right, that's fine, but now we've got other entities that are coming out, there's just a way. So just be hypersensitive if you are gonna do things like electrical, mechanical, those kind of things that do require licenses, then do the further research to at least say that at the time you researched them and they did have a valid license.
Exactly.
So,
And keep a copy of what whatever was on the screen that supported that conclusion.
cool. Very
Right,
good. All right, and you own, question online.
The question is that what if an electrician has somebody come out and do the work that doesn't have a license underneath them? Does that still count?
You know,
I don't know how that works, if that's even true.
No, they're employed by the electrician, and the majority of electricians, they're called journeymen. They don't have licenses.
Yeah, so they would just work under the master license of the electrician. That's there, so.
So is that covered?
well,
Question would be.
of course, they want to verify that the company has a valid license associated with the, right.
4, Jim. We had the over-under on how many agents were gonna show up. It's 15, and so I picked the under, and we're only at 4 now. 'Cause Bill just showed-
Including vendors.
Yeah. That's right, exactly.
So any other questions?
Any other questions? Anybody, we're good?
Okay, so
Perfect.
just wanted to,
Yeah.
Also, don't forget about insurance. The number one reason a vendor doesn't work for us, when they've been working for us,
Uh-huh.
and then they don't work for us, and then they usually work for us again after we find out they don't have insurance, is insurance.
Licensed and insured.
Making sure they're licensed and insured, because we check that all the time. And
Yeah.
the biggest reason we get rid of a vendor is not because they didn't do a good job, but because they let their insurance lapse.
That would be the next question, how you check their insurance?
I don't know.
Yeah, but do you call the
I would
insurance company?
say probably the same way you check.
Or get a cop
the
license.
No. Well, as the CAN license, I would have all my vendors give me
Yeah.
a license and their insurance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do that, and then we check it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can check it.
Yeah.
So there's a number
You can call to confirm that.
there's
If you guys need anything else to worry about.
Yeah, right,
real estate.
exactly. Yeah.
to check, there would be what's called, it's a one page called a deck.
Deck page,
Deck sheet.
declaration page. Uh-huh.
Right, and that would have the term, from this date to that date, what the coverage is, and so that's typically how you verify, because you're absolutely right, you can't go online and look up somebody to see if they have insurance.
One other thought is to say, hey, you know what, Mr. Seller, this came up. Looks like you got some plugs that need to be replaced. Go find an electrician, have fun, let me know when it's fixed. So that way the seller can be obligated for, or whoever's paying for it would be obligated to, hey, look, if you got it done by licensed, unlicensed, whatever, insured, uninsured, that's all on you. And the good news is the seller doesn't have a license for one of these entities that you're describing to come after to do it. So,
Exactly.
if we can stay out of the recommendation business, unfortunately, I know it's part of what we do, but if we're gonna get sued every time we recommend somebody, not every time, but even on occasion, then maybe it's better to just, hey, you know what? Google it, right? Or DuckDuckGo it, actually. I'm anti-Google, so.
So at least be aware.
World order.
That's right. So at least be
Get rid of the Fed. I'm sorry, go ahead.
aware of the issue, right? Right. So we look forward to American Patriot. We're at the corner of Fletcher and Dale Mabry in Tampa. Look forward to doing some business with you, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. Oh, 5 agents now. They're coming out of the woodwork.
Well, we had-
All right, numbers keep coming. All right. Well, at first we only had 3, and we had a dozen bagels and 2 dozen donuts. So every agent was going to take a dozen home with them. All right, but now we've got to start splitting them up. All right, now we got to start dividing them up. Go get yours quickly. There you go. See, that's perfect. Take them with you. Take a box of coffee too. We have plenty of that. All right. All right. Matter of fact, we're going to stop serving coffee. Everybody go home, and then when you guys are gone, then we're going to pull the coffee out from underneath the table. All right. Watch something other than the mainstream media, and you'll know what I'm talking about. But that's all right. Kevin, what's up, man? I was wondering if you were coming or not.
Yeah, you said it was going to be back to normal, right?
Yeah.
You used to start at 10?
Start at 9:30.
You used to start at 10.
Well, it was a long time ago. We've been at 9:30 for how many? Two and a half years. Okay, all right. All right. That's all right. We covered till you're done. So, you want to go up here? We'll switch the camera. All right. So let you take over. Tell us what you got going on and everything. You can lean to this table if you like. It's up to you.
How much time I got?
You got, how about if we, 20 minutes?
Perfect. Is that good? Better than the 45-second rule you have normally, which we all break, of course. So, yeah. So, good morning, everyone. I'm curious. How many of you are born and raised in Florida? Because they are freezing their ass off right now. This is nice. This is perfect. This is golf weather. Come on. Yeah. So I was sort of listening to Bob. Sorry. But when he said Google it, I agree. Google title companies, please. Check out ours and anyone else. That's all I have to say about that. But so I'm going to blast through a bunch of things. This is not a training session by any means. This is a discovery session. So I'm going to go through the many classes. Here's what pass that stuff out. The several classes that I offer, or that we offer for realtor training. Most of you probably know the Become a Better Agent training, real estate professional development program, and we call it BABA. That's been on hold thanks to COVID, and we are looking at bringing that back in a, believe it or not, a nationwide virtual way. We're working with a huge insurance company, actually, that is going to help us get it in front of maybe thousands of people virtually. So that will be coming back. Please be sure to give your contact info to these guys that look just like each other. And while I'm talking about them, I'd like them and Max to come up so I could introduce these folks real quick. So as you know, I've kind of always been the salesman for ITA, but I happen to have 6 other companies that I'm trying to grow. And I'm also not that great of a salesman. So I've hired the best, and I brought in some fresh meat as well. So this is Max Jackson. She has spent about the last. Why would I talk about you? Here you go, Max Jackson.
Hi, everybody.
Need the microphone, I'm sorry.
Hi, everybody. I'm Max Jackson. I have been in the business almost 8 years now, and I have made relationships throughout the area. I've become a resource to many agents that work in your office, and I look forward to getting to know those of you that I have not met yet. And I would love to get to know you a little bit better to see if there's ways we can use our tools to help you grow your business. Kevin has a lot in his tool belt that he's going to share with you guys. So Kevin, you want to go ahead and take it away?
I do. And then last but not least,
Twins? Yeah, twins.
look at these guys. The Title Twins. Is that great? So this is Parker and Braden Overstreet. They happen to be my nephews, my brother's sons. And if you split me in half and made 2, you'd have them, right? And added a whole bunch of hair. So it's funny, Mandy and I, my sister, who's my VP, we moved down here in 2005 and started Insured Title, and it's gone great, largely thanks to you all. So thank you, we love you. And I think we were talking about it on the drive down when you would have been 05, you would have been 7. So when they were 7, we were like, these guys could be the reps force eventually, call them the Title Twins. So working on a lot of gimmicks and things like that, but they're also taking some different directions with helping agents and helping other clients. And in addition to the usual, they're also going to be doing things like a boot camp. So the very first boot camp, and if they have your information, this will all be text to you. Yes, it is called Body Force. And you have to say it with the eyebrow up. So Body Force, first class is on next Wednesday, 12/16 at 4 p.m. in the GTAR parking lot. We're going to try it at a few different times to see what the best turnout is. And it's one of those outdoor, pick this thing up and run that way and then do this. And, I'm describing it really well, this thing and this. So I'm not really sure what they're going to do, but they're obviously very fit kids, guys, men. Sorry. They're still this big to me when they're actually this big. But anyway, these guys are here for you. They offer, if you're afraid at your open house, oftentimes a single woman at an open house is in some danger. We've heard a lot of those stories. We actually, I just helped a lady get a guy put away because he had done bad things to people in Virginia, and he was about to do bad things to her. And so be vigilant with that. they can come and work security or work the crowd or whatever, just hang out. You basically don't get attacked if there's someone else there because there's another open house with a single person that the guy can go to. Along those lines, we just started developing the open house, the Realtor Survival Kit for open houses. And it's not going to be a bunch of just logoed items. It's going to be quite robust and some real things that can actually help you as well as some training. And so stay tuned for that. I'm going to make sure Bob has the prototype of that so he can show it to everyone, and then we'll be handing those out to you at your open houses. One flyer we don't have, but we're going to send to you, is our new listing service. So the new listing service is something that most of the agents that work with us, the listing agents, are taking advantage of. If you ever hear the phrase, this can't close because of title, or this can't close because of the municipal lien search, how many people have heard that? Everyone? Is it so cold you can't raise your hands? Because I'm freezing right now. So anyway, I'm going to assume you all have heard of it. Otherwise, it takes the wind out of my sails. So those phrases should never be spoken, ever, because it's being done wrong. It's being done at the wrong time. For you to, it's not your fault. Title companies don't ask for this because, and nothing against title companies. There are some great ones out there, very good ones. And they're not going to ask you to send them anything until there's a contract because they don't want to work until there's a pretty secure deal. Oftentimes they'll play the waiting game. Let's not order the estoppel or the appraisal or the municipal lien search until after the inspection period, which is from a let's save money standpoint, that's kind of bright. However, we want the opposite. We want to know as soon as you have your listing agreement, at the latest, send it to us. Because that's when we start title, that's when we start the municipal lien search, and that gives us all of this time to find those things, find issues, and fix them before there's a buyer. A very good example is on a muni search, permitting and code. Ever heard of a permitting and code issue? Anyone? I love it. Maureen's so cold she'll nod, but she's not bringing that hand out of the pocket. I love it. So the reason that happens is, well, because there's a problem, there's an expired permit or something like that, but the reason it's a problem is because no one looked at it until there was a contract. And that's the wrong way to do it. An expired permit nearly always is fixable. They come out and check it out, they say, you're good. We do that during the listing period. When a buyer, as you know, when a buyer puts money up, they're emotionally moved into the house already, and then they start hearing things. There's an expired permit. What do they think? The work was done wrong. What's going on? This house is a lemon. No, the work was done fine. Somebody just didn't call the county, most likely. So please be more proactive by getting your team, and we love to be part of that team, getting your team involved sooner. They will tell you, well, the title search costs us money. It's true. Underwriter charges for a title search. And every single time that the agency says, hey, underwriter, these didn't close or didn't close with us, they'll waive that fee. Oh, and back to the muni search. The code and permitting, 90% of the time is excluded from the search. Because if you look at the statute that is referenced in the contract about the muni search, and if you go to that, it does not include anything about code or permitting, and code issues and permitting issues they do not affect title in any way. So they will simply exclude it. They're typically working for the seller, and hey, if I can do a muni search that I don't really expect the buyer or buyer's agents to read, because they're going to say, oh, it's done, which is logical, why would I do that? Why would I look for these problems that could cause a delay for my client? This is the title company talk, my client, the listing agent. So that's that, and I want to introduce two more people real quick. Come on up here. So this is Matt Findell and Lisa Vitale. Lisa's the one in the back. And Matt is my title manager. He worked with me back in the 99 and 2000 at a company that we used to both work for. I started my first company in St. Louis in 03, hired him right away, and moved from there. I did. And then after we got established here, I coaxed him down here for the beautiful warm weather. And this man's a true expert. When he and I sit down with a problem file or an agent says, how do we close this? we always can get it closed because most title companies are not really experts. They rely on their underwriter for everything because it's safer, and it is, and it's kind of smart. But how many searches do you think you've done?
Oh, Jesus.
Well, we've closed over 40,000 transactions, so at 50,000 at least. So, right?
It'd be in the 500,000.
Oh, okay, so that's more. He's almost getting sad thinking about it. I've done 500,000 searches.
The sum total of my life is
Right. Right. We put that on my grave. I did more title searches than anyone. And then to Matt's left is the lovely and talented Lisa Vitale. She is the closing manager. See? Lisa is the closing manager at the West Chase office, which is the main office, which is next door to your main office. And you've been with us for, I was way off on him, so I'm not going to guess. Almost 6 years. I have yet to hear a single complaint when it comes to REO, VA deals, short sales in particular. Try her. If you have any problem at all, I'll refund your client 100% of the money, except the title premium because that's not allowed by the Department of Insurance. So let's get to these classes. I'm not going to teach any classes today. I'm going to run through what they are. Did I miss something?
Quick question.
Oh, yes.
When you said about doing the permit search, is that what you do any different than just checking public records, county records for permit?
Repeat the question too so they can hear it out.
When we do this permit search, do we do anything different other than checking the county records for permits?
Well, some of them are free online, but a lot of municipalities and cities, you actually have to submit a request in, and it's like there is a cost to it, and it's like a couple of day waiting period where you wouldn't be able to get that off public records. You actually have to send in a form, some of them are antiquated, by fax or something along those lines, but there's a little bit more to it.
It's not an extra. It's part of so because of the way municipal lien search companies work, and I don't have a problem with them as companies, but I chose to start a municipal lien search company. So we actually do those. It's a separate company. It's called Title Update, and we do those ourselves. So if something doesn't close, we don't have to go to someone else to waive the fee. We just waive it. So we totally control it. And no, there's not an extra cost. And truly, municipal lien search is the wrong name because we're searching for things that haven't yet become liens. So if there's a code violation, it could be a $50,000 code violation, but they haven't gone to the county and said, hey, file a lien. And the lien is public record, and that's all we're actually responsible for. If there's a $50,000 violation that hasn't been made to lien, we don't have to do anything, but we do. We still do that because our job is we don't work for the buyer, we don't work for the seller, we don't work for the agent, we don't work for the other agent. We work for the transaction. And our job is to get that transaction done and get everyone paid, and that's it. So did that answer your question, sweetheart? You look like it didn't.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of situations that was, down in St. Pete, we had a lot that had open permits, or they were never permitted, and then when they were bought, it was, it was a kind of work, especially when we had so many roads.
Yes, yeah, open permits we'll find, and we'll be able to get them closed. Never permitted, can't find that. So on to the classes. Not first and foremost, first and favorite. So I teach a class called Control Freaks. I've been called that my whole life, and I used to think it was an insult till I said, you know what, thank you. Because you all should be control freaks, controlling the transaction, controlling your client, and as much as you can. So that class is primarily several different tactics. It was actually the very first time I spoke at a FHR meeting. That was what I was speaking about. It didn't have the cool name. I bombed the meeting, but it was still very informative, and people liked it. And that was actually what encouraged me to start Baba, because one, I suck at public speaking, so I'm going to make myself public speak every month. And two, it was valuable to people. So that is Tampa Bay is one of the only places in America where you can control title as the agent from either side, because it's assumed you're going to control title if you have the listing. So good, you're in control. But that's also wrong. Not wrong, but improper. It's not how it's done anywhere else. We issue a title policy to the owner, to the buyer, and to the buyer's lender. And the seller says where to get it. Very similar to a seller saying, hi, buyer, here's your house. I got your mortgage, and I made your first few payments. It's stupid, right? But anyway, that's the custom. Take advantage of it. Then in the class, Control Freaks, you'll learn many different tactics, things to say, what to mark on the contract for you, the buyer's agent, to be in control of the title and closing portion of that transaction, and it won't cost your client a dime. Everyone says, well, I want the seller to pay the premium, okay? No. Have your client buy their own insurance, and I'll teach you throughout the class several different ways to make sure that costs your client no more money, no extra money. And your properties that don't appraise will be less likely to happen. So that's a cool class. Property tax portability check. This is a super complicated subject, so I'll very much glaze over it. When everyone understands what portability is, at least to a degree, right? It's the difference between the market value that the appraiser has established, the county appraiser, and the assessed value. That's $100,000. They can take $100,000 in savings to their next house. Roughly 2% of that is taxes, so they've saved $2,000. That's great. But if that market value, how many times have you seen the market value online drastically less than what you're selling the property for? If you look online, you're going to see it. Right. So we have a method. It's not ours. It's a title guy in Jacksonville who's a good friend of mine and much smarter than me. And he's the expert on real estate taxes. There are between $5 and $6 billion annually in overpayments on real estate taxes because people don't take advantage of the things because they don't know about them. Florida has the most homeowner-friendly real estate taxes in the nation and the most complex. So it's nearly impossible to understand all of it, but let's say for simplicity's sake, the market value is $300,000 and you're selling, and the assessed value is $200,000. It's $100,000 in portability, the $2,000 savings. What was it, 2 and 1 or 3? I forgot the numbers. You said 3 and 2. 3 and 2, okay. But you're selling the house for $600,000. And so think of South Tampa, think of the Dunedin, so many areas where people have lived in their home forever and their home is worth $800,000 because they're going to bulldoze it and the lot's in the perfect place. We see that all the time. Those people are scared to move because they're paying taxes on a very held down assessed value thanks to the Save Our Homes cap. So they think if I sell my $600,000 house and buy a $600,000 house, I'm going to pay taxes based on that. And they're right, unless they do this. What we do for you, is we dispute the value that the appraiser has established. This does not work until January 1st, and that's simply because the trim notices come out and say you have till September 15th to dispute it. Everyone says, oh, they think my value is way less, I'm getting one over on them. That means nothing. It's all about your value. So starting January 1 until August, when the trim notices come out, you dispute the value, we dispute the value with the county. They have to accept they have to look at it. And there's a pretty complicated formulation, but let's say you take that $300,000 property with the $100,000 portability spread and you dispute it and they change it to $600,000. So you've just added $300,000 to your seller's portability, which is a savings of $6,000 a year for the rest of their lives. If they're selling a homestead property and buying a homestead property. It absolutely works. These guys have done it hundreds of times, and I can't get anybody to do it.
And I know you got a class on this, and so is it done prior to them going to contract, or this is?
As long as they own it, and the contract's a good thing. So presenting a contract for $600,000 lends weight to it. It hasn't closed yet, but through the company that we use, an appraisal is done. They do an appraisal showing a $600,000 value, and the county has no choice. They can remove 15% in this really complicated formula for cost of sale. We'll get into that in the class. But the bottom line is, think about the clients that you already have, and I'll do this for whoever comes to the class. I'll do an analysis of the listings that you currently have and show you what the savings for your client could be, and then I'll make you sad and show you the ones that you've already sold. And the average that we see is about $1,900. However, I left it in my truck. I looked at some this morning, and one in particular is a property in South Tampa that just became an expired listing. Who calls expired listings? And don't lie. Now I know why the hands don't go up, because that sucks. Hey, so today I'm going to go get them. I want to call the group of people that hate agents the most and see if I can, and I hope I'm the 35th person to call them. And that's what happens. It's ineffective. People that do call them it's typically some kind of trick. I've got a buyer in your area that will buy your house right now, because I have investors that will pay 70 cents on the dollar for any property. They don't say the second part. It's a trick to get into the house. There's not a true, or I'll sell your house for 1%. That's what you want to do, right? That's a realtor's dream come true. So the one that I found this morning, I'll say the numbers wrong, but roughly, her market value was like $400,000. Her list price that just expired Friday, her list price was $1.15 million. Her portability was currently like $75,000. By using this method, her portability would be increased to $500,000, which is the maximum you can port. So the phone call to that that homeowner is, thank God you didn't sell. It would have cost you, the numbers were $9,400. It would have cost you $9,400 a year. I don't want to list your house. I want to come out and talk to you about this and briefly show you how it works. And then I've got my team of experts that can walk you through everything. The cost to her is $100 for the report, and then whatever the cost of the appraisal is, and it's not expensive. So then think about your pitch. So on that property, your 3% was going to be something like $34,000. Well, guess what, homeowner? You're going to recover my entire commission in 3.4 years. And then starting from 3.5 on, if you work with someone else or sell it yourself, you're going to lose $9,400 a year, but only till you're dead. Imagine the difference that I don't want to list your house. I am an agent, but I also understand something that no one else does. I can save you $9,500 a year. We run these numbers every morning because we subscribe to RedX, and it's astounding, some of the savings. Astounding. And I can't get anybody to bite on that. We'll do it for you. We'll send you the information. Here's their phone number. Here's their savings. We get rid of the ones where they're going to save 92 cents. Not much of a sales pitch. So come to that class. Auction Advantage. We just held this last Friday. Dr. Matt Findell here was the teacher of that. So we're going to be having a class every Friday at the South Tampa office, second floor of the Greater Tampa Realtors building. For the first time ever, parking's not a problem. Yeah, it's lonely, but you can find a place to park. And I'm like, man, the rent's kind of high here, but at least all these realtors are walking by. So every Friday up in our suite, we have a little classroom, and we'll be teaching various things. One of the most common ones we call Auction Advantage. We are the only title agency, and I know that because one underwriter said, I've never heard of that, and you can't do it. I said, okay, I'm going to talk to the other one. The other underwriter said, I've never heard of that, and you can do it. We sell title insurance to investors that purchase at county auction. No closing fee, nothing like that. But Matt sees it every day. These investors that just lost everything because they foreclosed on something, or they bought something they shouldn't have purchased post-foreclosure. And the way the math works out, if they buy a $100,000 property, do their thing, and flip it for $150,000, the difference between being protected that entire time and not is $10. And I'll show you how that math works, and it's legit. It's absolutely stunning how many investors learn this and ignore it. So if you're working with investors or want to, when you are, I need your help to get these folks to understand. Because we tell them one of three things. You just bought a pig and you're screwed. Figure out how to sell it. Put some lipstick on it and call your foreclosure defense attorney to delay the lender so you can collect rent. Two, you've got a problem that's going to take time to go away. Something like a 9-year-old judgment that wasn't wiped out, well, it expires in a year. So rehab slowly. And three, you're totally fine, go for it. And then the one where you're screwed is put in the least expensive things and you're gonna rent this property out for a while. But they have that informed decision. They can make the informed decision saying, which one of these things do I want to do? Okay? Property firewall. This is, so I wrote a book that no one's seen yet because it's not out yet, and it's called The Fraud Shine State, and it's exposing title fraud, which a lot of people think is a myth. I demonstrated to Bob how easily I could steal his property, and he was blown. Well, you didn't enroll, so I don't know, have I? I said, here are the documents with your forged signatures that all I have to do is record electronically, and I own your property. He's blown away and didn't subscribe. You're checking right now. Yeah, you should. Yeah, it's remarkable. It's remarkable how easy it is, and it's remarkable how often it happens. One of the guys in my book is a guy named Matt Cox who got out of prison last July after doing 12 years. He was supposed to do 26, but he just ratted on everybody in prison until he could get out earlier. He's a super nice guy. And he stole 109 properties just in Ybor City alone in the 02 to 05 range. And I don't have to get into the methods now, but I will during this class. He basically took an $80,000 property, either bought it with a fake identity that he created by a very complicated way, or legitimately bought it and made it a $300,000 property. Very, very simple thing to do. And then went to 10 lenders at a time and got mortgages based on a $300,000 property. There were many houses he would have $1.8 million loaned against sort of $300,000 property that was actually worth 80. He's almost single-handedly responsible for the values in Ybor City going from something like high 80s to low 300s. That's part of the foreclosure problem that happened is blasted and sometimes fake value. He was number one on the Secret Service most wanted list. He was on the top 10 of the FBI. American Greed has an entire episode about him, and he's a spokesperson for my company that solves the problem, because if any of the properties had what we have, what we do, he would have looked away, looked to another one. So very interesting stuff. And property firewall is the cure for that, property by property. We'll get into that in the class. And then last but foremost, I don't know how to say that's not right, is property pre-qual. So this is the big boy. This is my this will happen before I die unless I die first thing. And property pre-qual is the cure for problems in real estate. The real estate transaction is done basically backwards. And all of you have been trained to do it the way that it's done, so you don't see that. What most business owners do is they have whatever their business is, they have in our case, a real estate transaction. And this is how it works, and here are the places that problems can happen. And I'm not being, it's this many actually, it's every place. So put 1,000 people in a room that have done 2 or more real estate transactions. Please stand if there was a problem. How many people stand? 1,000. Yeah, there's always some type of problem. Property pre-qual cures them. Think of it as a very, very complicated and much more important Carfax report for used homes. It's never existed. It's independent. We'll get into all the details during the meeting. But right now, the 2 big things to leave you with on that. Right now, the buyer, their first question that they ask and answer, at least within their mind, is, do we want to live here, right? Then the due diligence starts. And I'm not talking just about the inspection. That's one of the 9 things we do. I'm actually trademarking the phrase done diligence, because when this is followed, the very last question they'll ask and answer is, do we want to live here? Because everything else is done. This doesn't cost you a dime. It doesn't cost it costs the seller a few more bucks than they would have spent at closing anyway, and it creates total transparency for the whole thing. We've done about 120 of these. We've used my title company for those, for testing it, but it's open to any title companies. I'll be teaching multiple classes on this, and there's a limited time for agents to get in. And by get in, I mean sign up, cost nothing, use it. Use one property pre-qual. You are now a property pre-qual agent. The reason that's important to you is, one, you just found a tool that most people don't have. You will win every listing presentation simply by saying how cool you are, making them like you, and saying, I don't have it here, it's in my truck. I left a lot of stuff in my truck. Say, here's a thing called property pre-qual, and this is what it does. And we have the literature, we have marketing material for you to throw your name on. None of this costs you a dime. And then simply say, that's what I can do. Ask the next 4 agents you're talking to about it. And they'll say, I don't know what that is. So it puts you in a great position. But the bigger deal is everyone who's used it is in a directory. Everyone who uses it, but between now and the time that I kind of close that, and I'll explain why I'm going to close it, they will be in the directory. We're closing it when I can afford to do a absolute marketing blitz of the Tampa Bay area. It's extremely like Carfax. Carfax went to the sellers of used cars, said, hey, we got this great thing. We have this great, no, they're from Missouri. They say we got this great thing, and if you get them for your cars, they'll sell faster than Ed's used cars across the street. So this guy said, that sounds great. I hate Ed. Let's do it. So they got a few Carfax reports, and they said, whoa. This is showing problems, too. Get out of here. So Carfax, did they fail? No, they were testing. I'm testing with you all now. And I've had agents say, well, you know, if we know everything, we got to disclose it. Good point. That's the point. But this is not just for buyers to have a better experience. It's for sellers, too. They're going to sell their house. We have the stats. They're going to sell their house faster, under contract faster, closing faster, no cancellations. Well, one. We had one out of well over 100. And they're going to sell it for, at last year, 0.6% closer to the original list price, which based on the $235,000 annual sale price in Hillsborough County, it's about a $1,300 difference. So, oh, and they pay nothing until closing. If you are in the system as a PPQ agent, this will be launched to the market, just like Carfax. They said, okay, let's spend millions of dollars to make the entire buying market demand it and selling market understand they have to have it. And now you walk into a used car place and they're like, here's the Carfax report, because they know you're not going to buy without it. That's where PPQ is going. And if you're one, what's that? They sure do. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. That's a small piece of it. That's a small piece of it. And we'll have to get into that in the class. But the inspection is important. But it's not an inspection for the seller. It's an inspection for property pre-qual, the company. And the seller and the listing agent have it, and then they can make real decisions on what to do. Do we fix these things? We, of course, disclose them. Do we fix and repair? Fix and repair. A gun guy that repairs what I fix, so that's why I said that. We can decide right now, we allow for this in the price, or we fix some of the things, or you know, whatever the case may be. And then there is a massive amount of other things. During that class, I'll teach you how to trick the other side. You ever have to ask for an extension because your buyer's lender wasn't ready? Right? Did you ever not have to? Brian left, so I can say it. I can teach you how to, when that happens, you don't call and beg for an extension. You call and tell them, my buyer would like to close a little bit later, and you've been out of contract. Your seller's been out of contract the whole time, and here's why. So if you want to do the extension, that's great. Otherwise, we're just going to take the earnest money. Instead of, please, please, please don't take our earnest money. Please let us have an extension. And you don't even have to mention that it's the lender's problem. I can also teach you how to not let that happen to you. So one of the things that Baba was always is that in real estate school, you learn a lot of technicalities and a lot of things that you have to know. And then you get out on the street, and how do you learn? You learn by getting your ass kicked by the other agent who's more savvy. Doesn't have to be shady, but he got his ass kicked by people 10 years ago, so he can take you down. And then you become jaded. You say, this is what I'm the subject of, and I'll join him. If you can't beat him, join him, right? I say if you can't join him, beat him. So I'll teach you a lot of tricks in those classes. And I guess that's it. So right after this meeting, you're welcome to come. I think we got the heater fixed. You're welcome to come to the ITA office in West Chase, next to Bob's office, next to your office. I'm just going to be there for like an hour. If anybody wants to come by and just ask questions or have a little bowl session, that's fine. And
How do we find out when the classes are?
oh, yeah. So we're going to send you along, since you gave us your text message, your text numbers, we're going to send you the flyer we forgot and the schedule for the classes once we establish it. The Friday from 11 to 1 class is every single Friday at the ITA office in the GTAR building, and we don't have a set class schedule for that, and that's by design. So quite literally, if there's something that you want to know about, something very specific or general, let us know. You can contact the Twin Towers, the Title Twins, or Max, or even myself, and we will cater a class to your needs, for sure. Mr. Lowe.
For those of us who are COVID chickens, I might recommend that you record one of your classes. I know you want to get the agents in front of you and have some contact, but if you have for instance, the portability class like Bob's doing now, record it and post it up to the ITA YouTube channel or whatever, so other agents can see who maybe don't want to go to a class. Just a suggestion.
I think Bob should even put that on the FHR site, right?
That's up to Bob.
I'm calling him out right here.
That's right. I mean, it's all, absolutely.
All right, see? That's how you got to do it. You want to get somebody to do something, mention it in front of the people that, well, you get it.
That's right.
So I can't wait to do that. So he's standing next to me. That's a sign that I need to shut up. I'm not able to do that without that sign, so I'm going to shut up.
That's all it took. I would have been here a long time ago.
Right. I think everybody should, when this is over, maybe go out in the sunshine here and take a couple pictures. We're going to. It'll be kind of rude if you don't come with us, but that's fine. So, but thank you so much for your thank you so much for your business. FHR has been ITA's #1 client for the last 10 years plus, and we love you guys. We have problems with agents all the time, and it's never FHR.
Never. Why? We're
real.
perfect agents.
Well, the few that we cut.
Closing ladies laughing at us a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, we cut a couple hundred of them off, and the rest are perfect.
Right. Perfect. Awesome.
All right,
Good deal.
thank you so
Thanks,
much. I
Kevin.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. Good to have you. Quick question, Kevin.
My name's Kevin too.
See, easy to remember.
I like you already. Were you born in '73?
No, somewhere winter of '66. Cold.
That was the most. It was the most common name in '73. So my mom's not that creative.
Oh, okay.
Maria's going to do her first open house today. We actually studied one here in Safety Harbor. So
Nice.
Anybody would like to join us? I can give you the information on that. And I think it's a great program, the open houses and getting safety, not just for ladies, for the men too. I have to read people too to make sure, I'm comfortable, I'm getting no bad vibes.
Yeah.
And to be aware of, this is a total stranger coming into a total strange home for my own safety as well.
Yep.
So kudos to you guys for putting that out there. I know a lot of ladies are very apprehensive about doing.
Well, then you win the open house safety prize.
Nice.
It doesn't turn off.
Yeah.
I know, I pushed that with 1,000 times.
So that'll be a small part of the survival kit we put together.
I still have my card holder.
Yeah, that's great.
See,
right?
and exactly. Love
Nice,
that.
nice.
See? Little shiv, if in case I need it. Okay, just kind of perfect.
best gift.
They are. The weapons are the best gift. Good deal. Perfect. All right, well, we are going to wrap. Barbara is looking like she's coming right out of a nativity scene. She's wrapped up like.
She might be from Florida.
I love it. Those are the Hardy people. We got 2 dozen donuts and a dozen bagels, maybe 10 bagels left. Make sure you take some with you. Thursday. Are you guys going to be there Thursday? Kevin, your crew. You guys coming Thursday to the Christmas party?
Absolutely.
So Christmas party. Oh, quick question. Barbara has.
And
All
we're
right.
bringing drink tickets.
All right. Bring in
I
drink
don't drink
tickets.
anymore, so there's going to be some left.
See, there you go. All right, Barbara. Last thing. Quick. Yeah. It's up to you. It depends on what your seller wants, right? If you don't, if your seller says nobody comes in unless they sign the COVID form, then nobody comes in unless they sign the COVID form. All right? If you're comfortable and they're comfortable and everybody says, hey, look, offer it up, at least we've offered it, then that's a choice. You know what? Again, it's the communication between all the major parties that have to decide how to handle it. So, cool? So, if your seller wants to refuse it, then you can refuse. Or if you are uncomfortable and want to refuse if they don't sign, because that's up to you, the personal decision.